Hello and welcome to Both Sides of the Bars. My name is Glen Martin. I'm the Vice President of Development and Public Affairs at the Fortune Society, the agency that hosts Both Sides of the Bars. The Fortune Society has been around for over 46 years here in New York City, working with people involved in the criminal justice system to help them become rehabilitated and also running alternative to incarceration programs to keep people out of jail or prison where they'd be better served in the community without diminishing public safety. On this show, we take a look at the criminal justice system and we ask questions about what's working and where there might be room for improvement. In the past, we've had on guests such as the Commissioner of Correction, the Commissioner of Probation and Parole, but we also have on people who are working in the community at community-based organizations to help people to turn their lives around. Today, we have two equally important guests. One is Anton Robinson, who is the Senior Court Advocate at the Fortune Society. He's been working at the Fortune Society for over a year and previously worked as a criminal defense attorney here in New York City and in Florida. He has significant trial experience. He's also an accomplished songwriter and is working on his first book. In addition, we have Edwin Nuahn, who is a former ATI, Alternative to Incarceration, client at the Fortune Society. He lives in Queens, New York. He successfully completed the Alternative to Incarceration program at the Fortune Society. He writes poetry and other forms of music. He is working currently, fully employed, and is looking to start up his own business, which I hope we'll have a chance to talk a bit about today. Welcome.
Thank you.
To both of you.
Thank you.
It's good to have you both on the show. Anton, I want to start with you because I'm sure there are people who are listening to the show asking questions about what alternative to incarceration looks like, who are you serving. Tell us a little bit about the mechanics of running an alternative to incarceration program.
Well, it's a very interesting line of work. I get to go to court a lot, and that's, as you expressed, I'm a former public defender, so I feel at home in court. But I get an opportunity to meet a lot of clients, a lot of attorneys, and judges. And so those are the actors here. That's where you get the notice of the clients, or you'll get the clients coming to your door, or phone calls from family members. But you somehow learn that someone needs your services. They need ATI services. And from there, it's a screening process.
So these are people charged with misdemeanors, felonies?
Well, they're typically charged with felonies. There are other programs who work with people with misdemeanors, but Fortune tends to understand that people with felonies obviously are our primary source, and they need the most services. And so they're charged with felony offenses. We speak with the attorneys and discuss the services that we can offer. We constantly discuss with district attorneys to let them know that we have services available. In exchange, we're asking that they stay in the community and that they come to Fortune for services.
So the prosecutor is part of the process?
Absolutely. They're a huge part of the process. We discuss with them the nature of the services, what we anticipate the client will get out of Fortune, from rehabilitation, from employment services, education services, anger management. The DAs are important because a lot of times they want to tailor the services for the client. And Fortune is neat because we offer so many comprehensive services, and so it works for a lot of the district attorneys.
So people come into the program, and while they may come through the ATI door, it sounds like they end up accessing a bunch of other services.
Absolutely.
So I want to turn to you, Edwin, because you're a shining example of how a person can be served in the community, even if they're charged with a pretty serious crime, I guess a felony, and do well. Tell me about your journey into the ATI program and what the experience was like.
My experience in the ATI program, it was rough at first because I was new to it. Me getting it was kind of rough for me to get it. So it was a good experience because it helped me learn a lot. Like the services were great, the anger management, the group counseling sessions with the other clients, individuals who were in the room. It was like different chemistry, different vibes. Everybody was on the same pace with what Fortune was trying to provide for each of us. So for me, it was a test. It was a test that I felt I passed. I worked hard to pass. I paid attention. I was focused, and I wanted to take from what I can get from it.
And did you go 1 or 2 days a week? Like how often were you at the Fortune Society?
I went 4 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week. I was also in school at the time.
So it sounds like a pretty rigorous program.
Yeah, it was. It very is. It really is.
And you were also in school outside of Fortune?
I was in school outside. I was in high school at the time, so I would go like in the evening courses with that for the program. I would go in the evening. So like every day after school, I would have to make sure I make it to the program. So like that was my main priority. Make sure I make it to the program. Like I wouldn't let nothing distract me. I would self-discipline myself. Make sure I'm there.
Mm-hmm. And did that change your behavior from?
It changed my behavior because usually before I never had something so up priority, something so important that I had to I had to meet. So like before I even entered the program, it was like what would I really be doing after school? Probably something I shouldn't be doing, or just be like doing nothing, wasting my time. But now when I entered an ATI, it was like I have something to do, and then I began to gain interest. And like what the services and the treatment and what it was teaching me. So like I wanted to okay, school's over. I wanted to make sure I was in Fortune Society.
And how did you find out about Fortune Society?
My last court date, I was involved. I had an attorney, Mr. I think Jose Vasquez, one of the court advocates who worked for Fortune Society. He came. My attorney talked to him, and he seen potential in me. And he said he recommended me to like he said, the district attorney. The district attorney said, okay, we'll give him a chance. We'll understand. So that's how I heard about it. And I completed it successfully the first time.
Were you facing time, real time?
Yeah, I was facing, I think, 3 to 5 years. So the program helped me a lot. And the fact that I completed it so successfully and so good, the judge took into that. He's seen that. And, like the DA also seen that. So, like, like it made, things better for me. So everybody was kind of happy at the end.
So he talked about needing to make it to the program every day without missing days. What happens if people miss days in the program or don't cooperate?
Yeah, if they don't, unfortunately, it's probably the worst part of my job, but I have to make all the parties aware of it. So the judge, I have to make obviously, their defense attorneys and the district attorneys aware that this client is falling below our standards. We don't like to do that as court advocates.
Right, of course, that must be difficult. And so, since you completed the program at the Fortune Society, what have you been up to?
Since I completed, I finished high school a year late because the last time I spent in jail. I was supposed to graduate 2010, but I spent that time away, so I had to graduate the year after. So it was more of like a test for me. So I finished school, I completed high school, I graduated. I started working as soon as possible. As soon as the summer came, got security training. I jumped into the security field. I started working. I worked at the Park Imperial, 7th Avenue, I think, in the downtown. I was working there for a little bit doing security. I left there. Then I started working in the airport.
So it sounds like your overall thinking is different now than it was before you got in trouble. Did Fortune play a role there, and how is it different? What's different now?
Fortune played a big role because Fortune helped me discipline myself more, helped me see what's more important in life. Fortune helped me build both roads. Like if I go down this road, it's gonna lead me to either greater to better myself, or if I go down this road, then I know where I'm going, and that's not where nobody wants to be in life. So it played a big role because now what's different is that I think I try to think more mature. I try to make decisions that's gonna help me and affect my life in the long run. That's gonna make me wake up and say, yes, I made it, or I did this better. I bettered myself. So,
but on that, it still starts with Edwin. You know what I mean? Like we have the services available, and we have very skilled workers and employees there at Fortune, but sometimes it doesn't match up for every client, and it's unfortunate when that happens. But I think there's something inside with the clients. They're ready to change, and they accept the services and do very well, some of them.
Talk a bit more about the other services that are available at Fortune besides ATI program. I think the viewer probably wants to have a sense of what a person like Edwin would be doing every day when he shows up at Fortune.
Right. So he discussed anger management, and I think it's just a sign of the times. There are a lot of people who don't know how to corral their anger.
Yes.
And that's one of the services.
That's one of the services.
Was that helpful for you?
Yeah, that was very helpful because I used to be a little angry a little bit too. Like I would especially first getting into the program, we'll be in a group session and then they'll be like, do this or you can't do this, and then me like not taking it so serious at first would be like, I don't care, this is what I want to do. But, you know, as time went by, like, you know, I settled down and I understood what the treatment was trying to teach me. Like, I sometimes just got to relax and just listen. If you don't listen, then you will never understand. You have to listen. So that's what I took from that.
And then a lot of services about making the appropriate choices in life. Did you?
Yeah. They have, there was group sessions where they would teach us, like, you know, ask us what was our plans, our long-term and short-term goals. A lot of people, like me, a lot of clients, there was like, you know, a lot of individuals weren't really sure. So it would, like, you know, it would bring some confusion to everybody else. But, like, you know, they had treatments like that, and everybody just, you know, chose what they felt was what they wanted to do. Some other clients probably felt, you know, I don't have a long-term goal, so my short-term goal is doing whatever I want to do, and whatever happens, happens, which was not the right way to go. So.
Right.
And then for some people who aren't like Edwin and who was in high school at the time, of course, we have education services as well. And I've met a lot of the teachers. They are second to none. They're amazing teachers.
Right. So while a person's in the ATI program, or I guess shortly after completing, they can pursue their GED at Fortune.
Oftentimes they take it right there at Fortune. They prepare for the GED. And then the other thing too that's notable is some of the clients, because we service people, you know, from 18 to 65 years old. So some of the clients already have a high school diploma, but Fortune actually helps them look for higher education opportunities if that's necessary. So it gets no better.
Yeah. Edwin, how old are you?
I just turned 21.
And so is that who you're targeting in the criminal justice system, mostly younger folks?
No, we don't target them. Many people like Edwin come through our doors, obviously, and I think Queens has a younger group, but no, we don't target young people. We don't target old people. We target people. You know, they need our services, and we look at them as the whole package. So, you know, it's not just, oh, they fit this criteria, that criteria. It is, this person needs this service. They might need housing, you know. That's something that we look into. We determine if we have those services available, and then they'll work with their counselor to tailor the counseling for them.
So forget about the client for a second, forget about Fortune for a second. Why does this make sense for the courts? Why does it make sense for society at large?
Money. It's so much cheaper to provide services to someone than to lock them away in a cell.
Well, it sounds like 3.5 years you were facing, you said?
Yeah, 3.5 to 5.
In New York, that's, you're talking about well over $130,000, $140,000.
Absolutely. It just makes sense.
And so judges, how open are judges to doing this? Are some judges more open than others, and how do they sort of verbalize their support or lack thereof?
Well, some judges seek us out specifically. So they say, you know, we might get an email or a call from the judge, and they'll say, I have, obviously it's not their client, but I have a defendant on the calendar today, and I think he or she might be, or might benefit rather, from your services. And that's all it takes. So some judges are very, very open and will actually, you know, make you aware of clients who need services. And then you have some judges who just don't know as much about ATI services, alternative to incarceration services. And so they need an extra push. So we get to advocate on the client's behalf. We get to say to the judge, this is, you know, this is Edwin. He needs these services, and we can offer these services for him. And not only that, Judge, we will keep you aware throughout the process. So it's at least a 6-month outpatient program. We'll keep you aware of how Edwin is doing. And the judges respond very well to that because they are in the loop and they know that they're getting the services, right?
He's getting the services.
And I talked about this before. They know if they fall below their standards, they know that we're going to be the first ones knocking on their door and saying, Edwin messed up.
Yeah. Well, I bet you couldn't continue to run a program like this unless you were reporting back to all the players about the person's performance in the program.
Right. It's about
trust. I think
trust.
that trust piece is important. So I'm going to come back to you because I bet there are audience members who have people who are currently on Rikers Island or in the criminal justice system who want to know whether they may be a good fit for Fortune services. So I want you to talk a bit about who you think would be a client that's a pretty good fit for Fortune.
Right.
But I want to go back to Edwin because earlier you mentioned short-term and long-term goals
Yes.
that you were taught at Fortune as a way to sort of think about your life trajectory. And so can you tell the audience a bit about your short-term and your long-term goals?
Since I completed the program, my short-term goals is really to finish high school. You know, the thing about Fortune that I liked was that, like he says, the services they have, you know, the employment services, the education services. But, like, I was so focused on, you know, I was so close to where I was, my short-term goal was school, that was my main focus, finish high school. So that was one of my short-term goals.
Mm-hmm.
And once, after finishing high school, was get a job, you know, be able to provide, help out my family.
Wait, so are you still going to high school now? Or?
Oh, no, I graduated.
Oh, you did graduate. So
I
you hit your
graduated.
short-term goal.
I finished the short-term
Okay.
goal.
Tell the audience more about your long-term goals.
My long-term goal right now, I'm just trying to start a business, you know, like a little T-shirt, little T-shirt line. That's my long-term goal. I write music. I create music. I make music. You know, that's one of my long-term goals as well. I'm a musician, so I'm trying to make that a dream of mine that can become reality. But I also want to give back to society. So I'm trying to, practice, like, help myself. Okay, this is what I really want to do. I love making music. This is what I want to do. But I also want to turn it into a positive to help the community. I'll give it back, to the people who helped me out, who gave back to me, who showed me better ways, showed me better ways of doing things and how to, conduct myself in life. So that's a long-term goal.
So I'm watching television right now. I have a son or a nephew or someone who just got arrested recently, and I wonder whether they're a good fit for this program.
Right.
Talk a bit about that.
Well, and I will always go back to this. It's about the individual. So while Fortune does have, criteria that we look for, if you believe that if you have someone who is in Rikers right now, give us a call. It's worth it because we don't have a policy where we're not looking at them. If they're on Rikers and if they're looking at serving at least a year in custody, we certainly will talk to them about the services that we have, and it's beneficial to discuss. So that's what I like about Fortune is it is so comprehensive. We don't just say, we're not worried about that segment of society. No. We have the services for a lot of different people. So
as long as they're facing a year or more in jail or prison incarceration, they should pick up the phone, give Fortune a call.
Yes.
Do you have the number at Fortune that people might call?
Well, I have, it's
the 212 number?
I have the Manhattan number. So it's 212-608-7660. If you call that number, you'll get myself or another court advocate in my office.
And if they're in another borough, I guess they can call the main number at 212-691-7554.
I think that's a Long Island City number.
Yeah. So there's probably also people sitting on Rikers Island now who are facing charges and are thinking that they could be better served in the community as opposed to being incarcerated. And so they're probably listening to you now in your experience. What advice would you have for those men and women?
My advice for those men and women would be whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. Don't ever let nobody or anything tell you you can't do this. I want to better myself. Don't feel scared. Don't feel like, okay, don't feel like I'm going to be given this opportunity, but I'm going to mess it up. So, you have a great, program, a great treatment like Fortune Society. And if they're willing to help you, you should be confident in yourself to take it. That would be my advice because the services, the treatment is very good. And I would want anybody who Fortune can lend their hand to accept because I feel like it will help them better themselves. But they should be confident enough to accept it, not, I don't want to do this because my mentality is still, I'm going to do what I want to do. So I don't want to listen to what Fortune got to tell me because I don't want to use, I don't want nobody to take Fortune for granted, use it as a scapegoat to say, okay, this is my get out of jail free card, and then end up getting them back into jail because they didn't use the services or the treatment that Fortune offered. So that would be, that would be my advice. Just if Fortune can lend you that hand, accept it. Embrace that, take it in, and just go in. I know it's going to be hard starting off, but it's a great program. The counselors are great. Just give it a try, give it a chance, and I guarantee, when you leave, your head, everything in your mind, the way you're feeling, everything's going to be better. It's going to be different.
What was that moment like when the judge allowed you to go to Fortune? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember everything. I always remember it. It was like wow, because like I said, Jose Vasquez, the court advocate, he fought for it to happen. And so it was hard, but it was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, and the judge, like you said, some judges are new to the like ATI program, so they're like, and sometimes it depends on the judge's mood that day. Like, no.
Sure.
So it's
Right.
hard. Like if they have a good mood and they agree with what you're saying, then they say okay. So for me, it was like, wow.
So were you in front of the same judge 6 months later when you completed the program?
Yeah, I was in front of the same judge.
What was that like?
It was like breathtaking. Like wow, like he sees me again, but this time like it's not to put the cuffs behind me. It's to say okay, you're free to go. And that was just so like, you know, I prayed because I'm a believer in God. So like, I just put all my belief into him and I prayed. And I was like, you know, I thank the judge for even giving me the chance, because I felt like for him to give me that chance, there's probably a lot of other people who like you said, he probably didn't know about the program, so he probably wouldn't give him that chance. But he gave it to me. Like he put the trust in me. Like he said, okay, I'm going to give you my trust. You know, your court applicant is going to come back to me and let me know how you're doing. But you did so well, so I'm going to complete you now and let you go about your life.
And people like Edwin who do well in ATI, their marketing tools, not just for Fortune, but for ATI's programs all over. So the more that you change the attitude about ATI, the more that people get out and they do what they need to do. You got somebody else who can probably thank you for convincing a judge to send them to a program.
How did your family feel about all this?
My mom, everybody, they're happy because it was scared. You know, nobody wants to see their kid or the child, in jail, like in prison. Nobody wants to see that. So for me to finish the program, for them it was like wow, like he did it. He didn't listen to friends, bad negative influences. He didn't let this person tell him, no, you don't got to go to Fortune today. Forget it, just leave. Knowing that my consequence if I didn't show up that day, my court advocate find out, then I did something wrong. So now
they were proud of you.
Very proud, very proud. They was happy. They was like once again, it was happy. Even in the district attorney, because like you said, they have to talk. The district attorney has to, say, okay, do we believe in you? Do we believe in you? Like they look at, should I believe in you? And it made everybody happy, even them, because I gave them a reason to believe in me. So now that I completed, they can believe in somebody else, and then the next person, continue going on.
Right. That's a great way to frame it.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of elected officials who are lukewarm on supporting ATI programs. If you were sitting here talking to one of those elected officials who were a bit skittish about whether to support ATI, what would you say to them?
I would tell them, you can't, you would never know something unless you try. And life is all about taking risks. That's what we live every day. Every day we take a risk. Anything we do, we're taking a risk. So you'll never know until you try. So seeing, what I did, what I accomplished, I try to use me, as an example for other people, other individuals, to help them out, to give their families hope. So I would tell them, just give them a try. Just give Fortune a try. You should try it out. You will never know unless you try. I mean, if you don't like it, then, you don't like it. I don't know what to say, but I guarantee and I feel in my heart that you will like it, because Fortune is really a great program. And Fortune really changes lives. That's, it's a great program that changes lives. It's not something that, okay, you just go there, okay, my son's out of jail. No, they have so much services that it can change somebody's life. So just give it a chance.
I would say just look at Edwin.
Yeah.
For every Edwin, there unfortunately are people who didn't get the opportunity for ATI services, and I've represented them before, and I just feel like the trajectory of their life, it was not the same as Edwin's, and that's because, it is a vicious cycle. We all have to take responsibility for what we do, but certainly I feel like our criminal justice system adds to a lot of the strife, and it's not a perfect system, of course.
I mean, most people don't totally understand the criminal justice system, right? I mean, you watch television, it seems like there's more crime on television than there ever has been in society. Talk a bit about what you see in the criminal justice system, and how does the system operate? Who's coming through the system?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of people who look like us come through the system. And, that gets into other issues of stop and frisk and disenfranchisement and what the issue is in our communities. But, the reality is when I see a criminal defendant, I don't see them as someone who has broken the law, because we don't know this at that point. We know that they've been arrested. We know that it's probable cause for an officer to have arrested them. And if there's an issue with our criminal justice system, I think it's at that point we as people are predisposed to think a certain way about them. It's a criminal defendant. What did they do? What have they done? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the more that you look at them like that, you look at people like that, they're citizens, you know, you kind of, it's like breaking them down. And not only does society do that, but I think that they feel that. They feel broken down. And that's why I asked you how you felt when the judge gave you the opportunity for fortune. And that, you know, because I know before that you probably weren't at your best.
No,
you probably didn't
my
wake
best.
up having great days for, I don't know how long it took you, 6 months or however long. And that's a problem with us, is we form opinions at the beginning and not at the point, you know, not when we should.
And what do you do nowadays when you're stressed? What if you have a problem that arises? I mean, do you still have a network of support at Fortune, or are you sort of done when the program's done?
I'm not done with Fortune. It's just that I'll probably, like, you know, been away for a while because I was trying to figure myself out. But like I will always, you know, like anytime I need help, I always go back to Fortune. You know, I will always ask for that help, for that hand, anytime I need help. I just been away for a little while. You know, I will always see Fortune as family. You know, I will always, you know, always take in what they did for me, and I always appreciate it.
And it's always there for you.
Just always there for me. So like, you know, I have the number always on my phone, speed dial always, forever.
Great.
So yeah.
That's great. And so these programs are relatively inexpensive to run compared to what it costs to incarcerate someone. But if you had your druthers and money wasn't an issue, how much more could you do in the system? Are there a lot more Edwins there in the system?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, comprehensive services are important. The reality is, I mean, you should wrap your mind around providing services. Like that should almost be like the first thought process, you know, because something's wrong, you know. And if I had just an unlimited amount of money, I think I would have the idea of just throwing services at individuals from the very beginning and seeing if there's anything that could help this person.
So I'd love to have you both back on at some point. Congratulations to you on your success. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
You keep doing the good work in the court system. And thank you to our audience for tuning in to Both Sides of the Bars. To learn more about the Fortune Society, visit www.fortunesociety.org or call 212-691-7554.